You ever move somewhere thinking you've finally outrun all the nonsense, only to find out you just walked into a different brand of crazy? Yeah, that was us. See, after years in the federal marshals, 22 years if anyone's counting, and my wife, fresh off being sworn in as chief of police, we thought we'd found our forever home in the Colorado hills. 5 acres of pine and silence, thick forest on 3 sides, no HOA, no neighbors policing your mailbox color. Just the sound of wind and maybe, if we were lucky, some damn peace. But, man, if I knew what was coming, I might have just bought a condo in Vegas and called it a day. We'd been here maybe 48 hours before she showed up. Picture this. I'm in the garage, still tripping over moving boxes and a tangle of extension cords, setting up our security cams out of habit more than anything. And I hear it. A sharp, impatient hello, cutting through the pines like a fire alarm. And there she was, Karen Bachman. 5'3" of pastel windbreaker, expensive sneakers, and a sense of entitlement that could choke a horse. The way she marched up our gravel drive, you'd think she owned the place. Never mind the sign that said private property. She didn't bother with small talk, just started in, full president of the HOA mode, wanting to verify ownership and asking about our boundary lines like she was the damn county assessor. I kept quiet, watching her on the monitor, not out of fear, but because I'd learned a long time ago, some people you don't answer. You just let them run out of steam. But Karen? She doesn't run out of steam. She doubles down. Didn't get what she wanted, so within 6 minutes she called the sheriff. Said my wife, who, mind you, is literally the new chief of police, was suffering a psychological episode and might be dangerous. 2 deputies roll up, I walk out, hands open, old habits die hard. Jennifer steps outside, badge still clipped to her belt, and just the look on those deputies' faces when they realize who she is. Well, let's just say nobody wanted to be there anymore. They left with a warning from Jennifer to log that call as a false report. But Karen had drawn her line in the sand. Next morning, there's a sign at our drive. Access restricted. Ridge of Echo Pines residents only. Cute. I just laughed, made copies of our deed and county map, sent a packet to the sheriff and filed the rest under HOA nonsense, a folder that was about to grow like mold in a flood. Then the real fun started. Anonymous county complaints, fake environmental hazards, noise violations, even 911 calls about gunshots and wild parties, none of which happened. I served the county inspectors coffee and paperwork every time, and every time they left shaking their heads, apologizing for the waste of our time. Meanwhile, Karen kept stirring up the neighborhood, posting on their HOA app about our verbal aggression and erratic behavior. If that's erratic, I must be the world's calmest lunatic. And then, she tried to escalate. Sent a fake water inspector to our land. Guy had a phony badge, didn't even know the right department name, and when pressed, dropped Karen's name as his supervisor. I told him to turn around or face a felony trespass charge. He split. That's when Jennifer said, enough. She started compiling everything, camera footage, incident logs, copies of every forged sign or fake complaint. When the 911 calls kept coming, all from concerned hikers or anonymous neighbors, but all from the same IP address, the HOA clubhouse, Jennifer decided to play chess, not checkers. Filed preliminary inquiries with the state, the DA's office, and even the Attorney General, copying everyone in with a tidy little dossier of Karen's greatest hits. Now, twist of fate, one of our neighbors, Lexi the vet, texted me screenshots. Turns out the whole HOA board was getting sick of Karen, too. At their next meeting, Jennifer sat quietly in the back, just observing, as Karen tried to push through a vote to annex our property. Nobody backed her up. She called them cowards, ranted about outsiders, even claimed Jennifer was armed and dangerous. Meanwhile, half the board looked ready to crawl under the table. Jennifer didn't even blink. Afterwards, we got a certified letter, a forged petition, complete with dead residents' signatures and 2 names that don't even exist. Bureaucratic land grab, plain and simple. That night, Karen herself snuck down and hammered a new sign into our drive. Unread property subject to community review. Trespassers may be detained. Not reported, detained. Gloves, ski cap, middle of the night. But our IR cam got it all. Jennifer pulled soil samples and logged everything. We sent the whole package to the AG and to emergency dispatch, who who found 6 separate false reports, all from the HOA's Wi-Fi. At that point, the county treasury's advocacy unit reached out, and we realized Karen had just crossed into criminal territory. Friday, a new contractor shows up claiming to be surveying our property for a road expansion. No permits, no ID. Jennifer gives him 15 seconds to leave or face attempted fraud. He peels out, scraping his truck on our fence, caught on 2 cameras, submitted as attempted impersonation. That night, I catch a shadow in the woods on the motion cam. It's Karen again, flashlight and some kind of paper in her hand, just wandering our property like a ghost haunting her own mistakes. I turn to Jennifer. We're past warnings. She nods. It's time to finish this. That weekend, we hand-deliver a 47-page cease and desist to Karen in person. Jennifer, badge and purse, but attitude on full display. Karen tries to argue, standing with one toe over our property line. Jennifer just points at the new boundary markers. You're trespassing. Again, Karen's face goes pale, but this time, she backs down. By Monday, the HOA's lawyer sends a canned denial, and a friendly sheriff's deputy shows up off the record. Someone high up wants this to go away before it turns into a scandal, he says. Jennifer hands him a USB of everything. This is above my pay grade, but I'll make sure it lands where it needs to. And then, silence. But silence isn't peace. Someone snaps the lock on our shed and leaves an envelope inside. This isn't over. That's when Jennifer drops her nuclear option. A full audit of HOA leadership, finances, security logs, and resident complaints, dropped in person at the State Attorney General's office. The AG opens a formal investigation into Karen for fraud, conspiracy, and illegal surveillance. And in a classic twist, an ex-board member turns whistleblower, confirming everything: misused funds, fake patrols, attempted property theft. Karen's about to lose more than her clipboard. Thursday night, the community patrol shows up at our gate. 5 folks in reflective vests, one with a walkie-talkie, another with a clipboard. They just stand there, arms crossed, until Jennifer sends up the drone. They scatter like raccoons. The clipboard? A list of citations for excessive gate beep and failure to comply. But the last page, and signed, recommends the HOA escalate and try to seize our land. Jennifer's already on the phone with the judge by breakfast, and by noon, there's a restraining order taped to the HOA clubhouse door. Karen's car is there, but she's not. Later that night, at nearly midnight, there's a knock on our door. I answer, rifle ready but calm. It's Karen, hair wild, eyes red, trembling, whispering, "You've ruined everything. You don't belong here." She tries to hand me some paper, a forged claim to our property, but Jennifer's already behind me. Badge out, camera rolling. "You're violating a restraining order," she says, voice pure steel. "Wait for law enforcement." Karen just collapses onto the porch, shaking, defeated. 2 deputies arrive, cuff her without a word, and that's it. All that fire and fury, snuffed out in a single night. The headlines the next day: HOA president arrested for attempted land seizure. Tame, honestly, compared to the truth. Turns out Karen had been running the HOA like her personal fiefdom: secret meetings, fake votes, fines funneled to pet projects, bullying anyone who wouldn't bend the knee. Her arrest broke the silence. Suddenly, neighbors started speaking out. The state came down hard. The board dissolved, and the county announced a review to possibly disband the HOA altogether. We started getting thank you notes. People we'd never met waving from their porches, grateful someone finally stood up to the bully in the clubhouse. I even found a painted stone by our mailbox one morning. Stand your ground. No signature. Didn't need one. The message was clear. Jennifer and I rebuilt, planted trees where Karen once posted her threats, turned the guest cabin into a real office, let the peace return, for real this time. And sometimes, when the sun sets behind those Colorado pines, I remember how close we came to losing everything just because one person couldn't stand the idea of someone living free on land that wasn't hers to control. But this story, like all good ones, doesn't tie up every loose end. Karen's trial was packed: media, neighbors, former board members. The verdict was swift, the sentence long, and the HOA was left in ruins. But the bigger question, the one nobody ever answers in these stories, is what happens to a community when the bully is gone? Does it heal? Or Or do folks just wait for the next one to try? You tell me. Because at the end of the day, all that really matters is whether people are willing to stand their ground. So what would you have done? Was it justice or just another fight in a country obsessed with property lines? Leave a comment. I want to know where you stand.